Through the tutorials, you will familiarize yourself with the basic aspects of running your very own restaurant empire. It is important that you pay attention to the animated arrows that appear on the screen, as they will point to important buttons or other tutorial subjects. You can also hold your left mouse button on the tutorial window and drag the tutorial box anywhere on the screen. Go ahead and give it a try, and then left-click on the Next button to proceed. Since this is your first taste of becoming a restaurateur, we will start easy and work our way up the ladder of experience. This will smooth out your learning curve. You will have your chance later on to grow your single restaurant operation into a multinational conglomerate. Left-click on the Next button to proceed. You are currently in the City view. You can zip around the city by moving the mouse to the screen edges or by using the arrow keys on your keyboard. Go on, take a look around Gay Paris. Left-click on the Next button to continue. You can also look at the city from different angles and perspectives. Hold down the right mouse button while moving your mouse left or right. This will rotate the view. If you want to change the viewing perspective or camera angle, simply move your mouse up or down while holding down the right mouse button. Left-click on the Next button to continue. To zoom in or out of the city, hold the right mouse button and press the Shift key. Then move the mouse away from you or move the mouse towards you to view the city up close or from a distance. If you have a newer mouse with a scroll wheel, you can also spin the wheel forward or back to zoom in and out. Left-click on the Next button to continue. While we're at it, let's look at some items on the top menu bar. There are two numeric displays to the left of the top menu bar. The display to the far left next is the profit indicator, which shows you how much money you actually made in the past month. Now let's go into your restaurant. This is the interior view of your restaurant. If you ever want to leave the restaurant, left-click on the Leave Restaurant button. You can also double-click on any restaurant that you own to enter. Give it a try. If you are ever doubtful about a button's function, simply mouse over the button or an interface element. A brief pop-up describing the button or interface function will appear. Extended help will be displayed if you mouse over the button a bit longer. Left-click on the Next button to continue. Your customers like to look at interesting objects while eating. Decoration adds ambiance to the dining experience, so let's make your restaurant more attractive. These are the main categories of items that you may place in your restaurants. There are seating arrangements, decoration, rooms and textures, lighting and accessories. Clicking on any of these buttons will bring up that item category as well as their subcategories. Let's spice things up in this dismally bland restaurant now, shall we? Left-click on the Decoration button to continue. There are wall-mounted, floor-mounted, and tabletop-mounted subcategories. For now, let's focus on wall-mounted items. The button is already highlighted in yellow. Left-click on the Next button when you are ready for the next step. All decoration items have at least one attribute, and now drag the object in hand onto the restaurant floor. Do you see a colored box below the item? That's the item's bounding box, the physical space the item you're holding occupies. You cannot place the item when the box is red. Line the item up against a wall. Don't worry if the item is not properly aligned. Items will line themselves up correctly when next to a wall. Notice that the help message that appears near the top. While you're at it, place a few more items on the walls. When you feel you've got the hang of it, left-click on the Next button. Good going! Now that there are a few more items placed on your restaurant walls, let's see what we can do about the floor. Placing items on a restaurant floor is similar to mounting items on walls. Pick a few items that catch your fancy, then place them on the restaurant floor. When you are satisfied with the amount of decoration you have in your restaurant, left-click on the next button to continue. You are obviously a quick learner. Remember, whenever you need help, you can seek me out. Simply left-click on the Adventure Mode button at the bottom left corner of the screen. The Adventure Mode interface will appear. All you have to do after this tutorial is to locate my house on the location list and double-click on my name, the one that says Michel Leboeuf's home. I will be waiting for you there so we can continue your crash course in restaurant management. Well done, Armand! Now that you know how to decorate your restaurant, let's see what you'll serve your customers. Below the menu is the food menu interface. There are several buttons, but for now we will focus on adding recipes to your menu. You will notice that the food menu interface has been swapped with the recipes interface, the repository of all your available recipes. As you are just starting out, you only have a handful of recipes available. The 5 square buttons on the top of the recipe interface represent food course categories. Left-click on the next button to continue. Below the food course buttons is a recipe pane of the recipe currently viewed, as well as its name. The recipe pane also has 2 round arrow buttons that can be used to go forward and back through your list of recipes. Notice the flag icons at the end of each recipe. The flag icons Now, instead of flipping through the list one by one using the arrow buttons, let's bring up the drop-down list. You will notice on the bottom of the recipe interface 4 large round buttons. These are, from left to right, the duplicate recipe, the Add to Food menu, the View Food menu, and the filtering toggle buttons. To add this recipe to your menu, left-click on the Add to Food menu button. A pop-up window will appear confirming the new recipe. To see your new recipe, now you're back in the Food menu interface. Make sure you are viewing the Food menu interface for this next step. Notice on the Food menu how arrow buttons appear on the bottom corners of the menu pages. Use these buttons to flip through the pages of your menu. Why don't you see what you have decided to offer your future clientele by left-clicking on the Previous Page and Next Page arrow buttons? When you are done viewing the recipe, so far so good. A pop-up with a list of hot and cold beverages will appear. The cold beverages are further divided into alcoholic and non-alcoholic. In case you haven't noticed, I'd like to give you a word on alcoholic beverages. If you plan to serve liquor, you will need to pay a liquor license fee of $20,000 up front before you can serve alcoholic beverages. Despite the licensing costs, this is a bargain as alcoholic beverages net the greatest profit margins. Left-click on the next button to continue. Let's tart up the menu design. There are 3 things you can do to alter your menu's appearance. You can change the title font, the text font. You can also left-click on the text font and the background buttons to change your restaurant menu's appearance. Design your menu until you have customized its appearance to your liking. There's only a bit more to go. If you ever want to view specifics regarding any recipe in your menu, simply double-click on the recipe name and you will be brought back to the recipe menu interface where you can view detailed information regarding that recipe. Notice the default price on the recipe menu, which is your restaurant's selling price for that recipe. When you are ready, left-click on the next button to continue. The last thing I want to go over with you, if you ever want to get rid of a recipe from the menu, say due to poor sales, then highlight Excellent. You are becoming quite You have added decoration and placed recipes on the menu. Apart from your name, notice how the interface now displays any restaurant needs at least a chef to prepare the recipes, a captain for taking orders, a server to, well, serve the food, and a receptionist to show the customers to their seats. Oh, and I almost forgot. You need to hire a kitchen porter to wash the dishes. Go ahead and hire all these posts. No need to hire a chef when you've got your trusting self to work the kitchen. Once you are done hiring, left-click on the next. A word on receptionists. They can only carry out their duties effectively if they have a reception desk handy. You can find a reception desk in the interior panel. You remember how to place items to equip and decorate your restaurant, right? Now place a reception desk near the. This is also the ideal time to explain to you how to rotate, move, and delete items. Notice the two round buttons near the end of the interior interface? They are the Adjust Items and Delete Items buttons. If you want to to delete an item, left-click on the Delete Item button, then Good! Now let's go back to the Staff panel and see what some of the other. Let's start with the List Mode button. Notice the two small icons. Now you're back in the detailed view. Most of the buttons are now available. You should already be familiar with the first two buttons. The other buttons are Raise or Lower Salary, Transfer Staff, and Fire Staff. Good going! You are just about ready to. Now, just be patient and customers are bound to come in. If you are impatient, you can always accelerate the game's speed by left-clicking on one of the 4 speed bars to increase or decrease the game speed. Go ahead, try it now. When you are done experimenting with the speed settings, left-click on the next button to continue. The round button to the left of the speed buttons is the Pause Resume. There's something you should know about. Now I'd like to explain to you about looking at the column of buttons. Now take a look at the top row of buttons. There are, from left to right, the Restaurant Ratings, Sales Report, Statistics, Income Statements, Financial Graphs, and Complaints buttons. Click on each one and familiarize yourself with the different types of information displayed. Left-click on the Next button when you are ready to continue. Now go back to the Restaurant Ratings button. This indicates how well your restaurant is faring in each rating category. The categories with pluses add points, while the minuses subtract points from your overall restaurant rating. Left-click on the Next button when you pay special attention to the environment and food category ratings. The higher your restaurant's value in these categories, the more likely customers will choose your restaurant. When you're ready to move on, as you can see, the top row of. Wow, all this restaurant managing has got me really hungry, Armand. But the good news is you now have all the requisite pieces to start operating your fully functional restaurant. Maybe someday your restaurant will not only be packed with efficient staff, but happy customers as well. Now off you go. Remember, your goal is to reach 35 customers with a monthly revenue of $30,000 within 3 months. Think you can manage it? I surely think you can. Good luck.